the trillions of dollars that are being incurred, our children, our grandchildren pay for that. The value of our currency is at risk. The interest rates, the inflation rates are going to be at risk. But it's more than just what happens in D.C. It's also in our society. We got to break that addiction of debt. If there's any silver lining of the challenges we face as a country, this economy, hopefully when we come out of this, as our economy starts growing again, you'll see more responsible and healthier attitudes. The attitudes our parents taught us. We all remember our parents taught us to live within our means. We all remember that our parents taught us that you paid off your mortgage, that was a great thing. You didn't just go look out and try to find a new loan. And so there's some things, hopefully, that'll be good for our country in the long term if we'll accept those same values our parents lived by and try to teach us. I want to shift gears a little bit, though, and talk about next year in our state. The reality is we face some challenges in Louisiana. This year's budget we proposed to the legislature is 10% overall. It's smaller than last year's budget, 13% smaller when you look at state dollars. We're going to have to do more with less. And this coming week, next week, Monday in the Senate, there are 3 bills coming up in the Senate Finance Committee I think are some of the most important bills of this session. And these bills are going to help us to make sure we're responsible stewards with our dollars. We propose 5 basic reforms to make sure that as we do more with less, we're not always cutting higher education and healthcare first. What's happened in our state is over $3 billion have been dedicated to almost 400 different funds, statutory and constitutional funds. So every year when it's time to balance the budget, they cut healthcare and higher education. We said we've got to stop doing that. So instead, we propose 5 fundamental changes. The first says that let's amend the private sector because we know they can operate more efficiently and effectively. These are the kinds of things we're going to have to do because our biggest challenge is not this year or next year, it's the year after next. You see, the federal government has decided they're going to count road, home, and insurance money as income. And because of that, they're cutting our Medicaid spending by $700 million a year. And it starts this year, it reaches $700 million in 2011. You combine that with the loss of stimulus, so even if we balance the budget this year, we're looking at a reduction of over $1.3 billion 2 years from now. Well, the responsible thing to do is to start getting ready now, not to wait for that to happen. And I've already said the answer is not raising taxes. The answer is for us to tighten our belt and do more with less. Now I'm going to close in a minute with just a couple of thoughts for our students. I do want to say this. I'm looking forward to being here coming to the Capitol today, and I'm glad you come. You could have saved me a trip. I could have talked to you out there. But I want you to come. I think it's important that the folks in Baton Rouge hear your voice. I'm proud of the fact that we're committed to spending, or have spent $150 million on roads and infrastructure projects in the parish. And I know that a couple of years ago, before I was elected, they said, oh, it might take 5 to 7 years to start working on I-12. Instead, we've committed $120 million. And I know that's not enough to get that job done, but my commitment to you is this, as I told your delegation. We know that we've got more work to do on not only I-12, but I-10 and other roads in the greater Baton Rouge area. And we're going to look for every opportunity in capital outlay, in surplus, in federal dollars to continue that construction work. But the good news is, the $100 million we put up last year was the largest ever expenditure by the state using surplus dollars in any single transportation project. Now, the important thing is we inherited almost a $1.5 billion backlog in construction projects. For 2 years in a row, we proposed no new Priority 5 projects. If the legislature goes along with us this year, that means we'll reduce that backlog to less than $600 million. And that means starting next year, we'll be able to do significant capital outlay infrastructure in our state's roads and needs. So we've made a good down payment, a good first investment, but my commitment to you is we're not going to stop until we get this project done. There are other reasons for you to come to the Capitol. I hope you'll come and meet with your legislators and come talk to them about issues that are important for economic development. Share with them why it's so important we continue not only investing in roads and other infrastructure, we've got to continue to move our state forward. The good news is we've outperformed the national economy and the southern economy, but we've still got more work to do. If we keep building this new Louisiana, there's no reason our children and our grandchildren can't pursue their dreams right here at home. Now I want to say something to our students. I want to say 2 final words. One is this. I want to congratulate you on the scholarships. I want to congratulate you on your achievements already today in school. And I know the summer break hopefully will be a time of relaxation and recreation for many. But I also encourage you as you pursue your dreams to give Louisiana a chance. This is a great state. It's a great state. I was born and raised here. It's a great state to raise your family. It's a great state to pursue your dreams. It's a great state to start a job, to start a business, start a career. You know, in closing, I'll say, people always ask the governor, why do you talk so much about bringing our children and bringing our grandchildren? My mom puts some perspective. We all celebrated Mother's Day, hopefully this past week. I hope everybody was good to their moms or your wives. You know, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but we do have 3 children. Our third one was born at home. Not on purpose. We just didn't make it to the hospital. My wife, you know, some women decide to do that naturally. They say, oh no, we want to give birth and we don't want the drugs. My wife said, look, if God didn't want me to take drugs, He wouldn't have invented drugs. I want all the drugs He's supposed to give me. And so our first child took 36 hours, our second child took 24 hours. Our third child took 30 minutes. My wife went to the hospital, the same hospital I was born, right here in Greater Baton Rouge area, same hospital. Our first 2 children were born. We were supposed to go there again. And so, going to the hospital that day, going to the doctor that day, going to the hospital earlier in the week, and they said, no, you're fine, go home, baby's not ready to come yet. That night, we were going to bed, and she says, you know, I feel a little funny, but the doctor says I'm fine. Gets up at 2:30 in the morning. My stomach's hurting, I'm not sure, you know, this feels kind of funny. Call the doctor's office, says, all right, come to the hospital. We go to grab our toothbrushes. I call my father-in-law and say, come take care of the 2 older kids. And my wife tells me from the bathroom, she goes, I'm not going to make it to the car, much less the hospital. I won't give you any graphic details, don't worry. I will say this. I was so grateful I'd see my first 2 children be born. Because see, there are men in this audience that remember, when I was born, in the old days, men were nowhere near the delivery room. Men were kept safely outside. Women went in to have their babies. Men were outside giving out cigars or lollipops or whatever and bragging about it like they had anything to do with it.